Now that's got to be a bad day. So the whole premise of this video is to kind of talk about these graveyards that you're seeing at Toyota dealerships. Do yourselves a favor, before you buy one of these, you need to go to the dealerships, go to the back of the lots, and you will see what I'm about to tell you here today. Now this one, I don't even know what's going on, right? Like, look at this, it's just busted all to heck, ripped apart. And it doesn't look like this was necessarily an accident. This looks like this broke while they were, in motion, something, because it's towed over here. It's not smashed up or anything. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. Check this out. Rows and rows of Toyota Tacomas that can't be sold, right? Not for sale, not for sale. Look at that. 2024. So there's trouble in paradise, folks. Right? These are 2024s sitting on the lot that still can't be sold, and everybody's just duped into believing that the old holy Toyota is just the most reliable, best company on earth, and it's not the case. Folks, like you've been had. I used to really like Toyota. I owned multiple Tacomas, but I'm disappointed in what's happened here. Yeah, $56,000. $55,399. Keep in mind, you're going to pay $60,000 for a 2024 Tacoma that Toyota isn't even allowing to sell. But at one point, folks, they're going to give that green light to move these. If you think that they're just going to let them sit here for more years, you got another thing coming. Wow, look at that, man. A frame there. Hopefully that isn't one of the new frames. I mean, holy goodness, it actually looks fairly new. Put in the comments if you know how to search one of these. What do we have here? Yeah, service frames. Okay, man, so there's even trouble with the frames. That is nuts. This just keeps getting worse, right? $56,800. At least this one's like super modded out, right? Like if all that's included, that sort of makes sense. This has got a lot of upgrades on it. But these other ones commanding that price are just kind of total BS, right? Let's talk about some of these issues here. So starting off, we all know the 3.5 liter, blown turbo, just the engine's plagued with all sorts of stuff, oil leaks, failures, at 10,000 miles, a bunch of other stuff that they need full engine replacements on those, right? ECUs causing drive modes to fail, gauge clusters going blank, cruise controls not working, all sorts of total electrical failure, just a dead truck, right? And a lot of gear hunting and some other software issues on the transmission, both with the 10-speed and the 8-speed. So, but they've issued some stop sales on these Tacomas for seat weld defects, steering column separation, right? That's what it looks like, this freaking thing, man. Improper torque specs from factory bolts, right? That is not good. As somebody who had that, had a tire fall off on them while going down the road because the service department didn't torque down one of my tires, and I almost freaking got killed. That's scary, right? But that goes to show that that's what happens when you farm out your manufacturing and you try to go the cheap route, right? It doesn't typically go too well. And yeah, you're not going to have a good day. So the multi-link rear suspension in the Tundra, it's bouncing all over, it's a clunky ride. Axle misalignments, so the weight distribution is off. that steering column on the 2024s with the risk of it separating, that is crazy, folks. But that is Toyota of modern today, right? The modern version of Toyota. If I were to guess, right, they're sitting here for transmissions. There's something wrong with that transmission where they rolled this out. You know, they had time to develop this truck, but it does seem like they rushed the rollout, and they paid a heavy price for it, man. Look at this. So, 46,000. It's TRD off-road. Right? I mean, this right here isn't bad, you know? Like, I don't dislike the way that this truck looks or anything. And I hate to say it, but in today's world, you know, 46,000 bucks. And if you can negotiate and say get, you know, 5,000 off MSRP on that, right? 41 grand for a Tacoma brand new, not too bad, but not one that has, you know, electrical problems and transmission issues and has been sitting around for 2 years now, basically, right? Keep in mind, right, we are in the middle of 2025. These are 2024s, and they were produced in 2023. So, yeah, these have been sitting around for 2 years. Think about that when they get rolled out, right? You're going to have to replace all of these tires because there's going to be flat spots in them, and you can't safely go down the road. A lot of your hoses and everything are going to be cracked, you know, or at least dry rotted. All of the fuel systems are going to have to be drained and really thoroughly flushed out. And I doubt that they're going to do that. Hopefully they will, but Toyota's going to have to pay these dealers a pretty penny to get these things prepped up and back on the road. We got Tundra sitting here, not for sale, not for sale, not for sale, right? And we all know why these are sitting here. It's those trusty, beautiful engines that are detonating, you know, and everybody like claims, oh, hey, they worked that out in 2022, right? 55,000, 56,000 pretty much, right? And 73,000, almost 74,000 right there for a truck that's just been decaying, right? Covered in tree crap, right? So I know like everybody can kind of question me on this and be like, oh, you're just a Toyota hater and whatever, right? I'm not. Like I said in this video, and like I've said in all my Toyota videos, I used to be a huge Toyota fan, and I'm still a fan of a lot of their old products. I think that they're great. They're some of the best that's ever been made. Nobody's going to be arguing that, right? They have cut every corner that they possibly could just in modern automotive production, and they're paying the price for it, right? It's not a good situation, and it's definitely not going to get any better. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.